Hello, everyone. My name is Ben Beggs. Welcome to my Capstone project. Let's jump right on into the standards. So, standard one is the learner. And as you can see, the learner is where educators continually improve their practice by learning from and with others and exploring proven and promising practices that leverage technology to improve student learning. My reflection on this was between my time as a learner throughout both my master's program, my bachelor's program, and just my everyday work in my classroom as a professional teacher. I have had countless ways that I've learned from others. The first piece of the standard is related to professional goals and how they relate to technology. And for this goal, I looked at my creation of a book trailer for FRIT7234. This was a project I had never attempted before. I'd never done anything like this. So I had to discuss with the professor a lot about what would be required technology wise and how to even start the process. From there, I was able to use the technology that was required to create a storyboard, video using proper techniques, as well as record a voiceover track. Without the ability to learn from and discuss with my professor, I would have never been able to complete this assignment. The remaining two pieces of the standard deal with establishing a learning network and staying current with technology, and both of these can be seen from my professional learning network, which was created for the same class. There's my book trailer, storyboard, professional learning, all that. Let's jump right on over to the next standard. So, the leader standard is the next standard. Educators seek opportunities for leadership to support student empowerment and success to improve teaching and learning. The program shall prepare candidates who do all of those lovely substandards, but let's jump right into the reflection. The leader standard is an area that I struggle in because outside of my classroom, I don't really view myself as a leader. But the first two parts of the standard deal with advocating for equitable use of instructional technology and accelerating its use by engaging with stakeholders. Both of these are met by my technology plan rubric from FRIT732 or 7232. In the rubric, I responded to as though I was evaluating the current state of technology in Bullitt County schools and its implementation. Looking at it, Bullitt County gets a lot of high marks for the way technology is incorporated and how quickly we get it out to teachers because the training is clearly in place. Where it struggled was with regards to accessibility, particularly where students with disabilities were concerned. Aside from mandated requirements for state testing, there was no language that directly addressed these learners or their needs, and this is not in alignment with the goal of providing all of the needs for all students and should be addressed immediately. The final part of the standard relates to the identification of new learning tools. I look at my technology advocate presentation from FRIT232 again, as I got to talk about my personal favorite tool and one that a lot of people in my school haven't heard of, Nearpod. Here's my lovely technology plan, Nearpod, on to the next standard. So the next standard, standard 3, is the citizen standard. This one says that educators inspire students to positively contribute and responsibly participate in the digital world. Not sure what that part is. The program shall prepare candidates who do all the lovely stuff there. This standard is one that's not directly related to my classroom content, but is something that I go out of my way to teach due to the importance of technology in the modern world. The first, second, and fourth part of the standard all link up with my digital citizenship unit for this course. The first day of my lesson honestly covers most of it because there is a heavy focus on how to identify safe and trustworthy resources online, as well as how to avoid people trying to steal your information. The first half was accomplished through the use of a website intended to help people see how websites might present fake information. From there, the students watched a video about how to identify false news and websites and untrustworthy sources. The second half was addressed with the discussion of how people attempt to get your personal information from the internet and how to protect it. Mainly by simply not replying, if we're honest here. The third part of the standard is addressed with the book trailer again from 7234. And while most of the images and materials that I used were free use, I made sure to properly reference the places that the materials were procured from. This modeled for my students how to properly use intellectual property from others in an ethical way. Once again, here are lovely things. Moving on to standard number 4. Standard number 4 is the collaborator standard. Educators dedicate time to collaborate with both colleagues and students to improve practice, discover and share resources and ideas, and solve problems as indicated in the following. And then there's the lovely substandards. Getting on into the reflection. Collaboration is an area that I feel much more confident in than some of the other standards, particularly the later ones. I am required to collaborate with my fellow teachers at minimum once a week, but it is often far more than this. In regards to the standard, the first section of the standard can be seen in my digital citizenship collaboration for this course, as well as for my collaborative reading unit from the previous practicum. In both, I actively collaborate with the primary teacher of the class. I was working with Miss Phillips, as I'm often in her class to talk to the kids, but not really in a teaching capacity, more as a helper when I'm in there. Because of this, I had to rely on her knowledge of the students' interests and abilities in order to know what the students needed to know. I was able to accomplish this by sitting down during planning and actively talking to her about the students and the best possible way to reach them. The second, third, and fourth part of the standard can all be seen in my online class plan from FRIT 7236. In this plan, I presented a Nearpod lesson that allowed students to interact with me and each other through a collaboration board. This allowed us to communicate and discuss ideas, which often leads and has led to ideas about the concept that I haven't even thought of, which allows the students to share information with me as well as each other. Collaborative learning and our lovely online course creation. On to standard number 5. So, standard number 5 is the designer standard. The designer standard says that educators design authentic, learner-driven activities and environments that recognize and accommodate variability environments. The program shall prepare candidates to do all of that lovely stuff. There wasn't a lot to say to this because honestly, I've shown this in so many ways throughout this. Designing is another area that I feel very comfortable in already, and creating personalized experience and using technology has always been a goal of mine. So, this, along with the second portion of the standard about designing authentic learning activities that align with core standards, can be seen in my online course creation. This artifact showed the creation of instructional tools that use the most current sources available, allowing me to create an engaging opportunity for my students, as well as them create engaging tools for each other in addition to what I have given them. Standard number 6. We're getting on into it now. The facilitator. So, the facilitator is where educators facilitate learning with technology to support student achievement on the ISTE standards for students. The program shall prepare candidates to do all of those lovely substandards. Being an effective facilitator has always been a goal of mine, as I strive to have my students take more ownership of their learning. By creating assignments where students are in control, my role as the teacher is able to move to support rather than the primary source of information for my students. I'm able to give them the tools needed to create their own learning rather than just listen to me tell them. This can be seen, once again, I love coming back to this online learning plan because it's just great. It works so well for this and is honestly how I try to run my class. In this class, I created several opportunities for students to research and develop their own learning tools in both digital and physical worlds. By providing students with a clear design framework, they were able to effectively design learning tools for themselves and their classmates. By using the kinds of tools that I expect them to work with in my daily lessons, they should feel more comfortable to branch out thanks to the background knowledge that they've been provided with, which gives them the ability to quickly jump in and push these tools to the absolute limit to create the best possible resources for their fellow students in addition to themselves. The next standard, number 7, the analyst. Analysts are educators that understand and use data to drive their instruction and support students in achieving their learning goals. The program shall prepare candidates who, substandards again, this is the most difficult of all the standards for me to work with because of not because it's a weakness for me, but because I don't have many artifacts for this. I don't have many things that really show me working as an analyst. I actually needed to look at my weekly blog for this class to show this more. One of the tasks that I often find myself doing and will continue to do well after this class is over is reviewing the effectiveness of various forms of technological assessments. By taking time to evaluate the data provided by quizzes, games, tests, and other forms of assessment, I have been able to give students a variety of ways to show their understanding of the material, evaluate their performance, and communicate ways they can improve to all stakeholders, not just the students, in real time, allowing everyone to stay abreast of their learning and their educational goals. Here are some of my lovely blog opportunities, but moving on to our final standard, standard number 8. Standard number 8, the coach. Educators plan, provide, and evaluate the impact of professional learning for educators and leaders to advance teaching and learning with technology. Coaching is another area that I already felt very comfortable with before I even started this course. I have already filled this role in my professional life as an Illuminate coach, wherein I had to help others effectively design various forms of assessment as well as analyze their results, which can be seen in some of my weekly blogs, as mentioned earlier. This can be seen in my professional development plans for both FRIT7734 and 7739. In both cases, I created a plan based on what would be most helpful to the teachers that I was training. In addition to this, after teaching these lessons, I then had to evaluate what worked and what the educator still needed to know. Which helped me to plan potential future lessons as well as update the current ones for reteaching in the future. Thank you for listening to my presentation. I hope that this has been everything that y'all needed to hear. Have a great night.